me show you what fusion can do!
So Sparking Zero has been out for a little bit now, and I've had a chance to play most of it, I want to say, beyond like some personal problems I've had with the game, like crashes, system crashes. I think I'm up to 13 full system crashes now. I know some people are having that issue, and some others are really not, so I'm thankful to them. I've tried my best to try and get everything around the system by clearing the cache and, you know, the data and uninstalling, reinstalling, all that good stuff, turning off the HDR, and I still get system crashes, and it's only in that game, so I don't know what the issue is with that. But bugs and crashes and all that stuff notwithstanding, one other thing that I was a little bit misled about, I think, during the promotion or marketing for this game is the amount of costumes and accessories that each character is going to have. Now, I know it wasn't going to be as expansive as something like, let's say, Naruto Storm Connections, for example, but after having tons of hours in the game, there's no new accessories to be heard of. In fact, the only accessories that we've seen are the Japanese exclusive V-Jump aura. And I don't know if that really counts, but it's at least one thing there. And the answer to all this is probably DLC, of course, but there's just a little bit of a confusion in my case of why it's even there, if like they're just using that for the back end. Like, of course, the people that naturally have like scouters and like halos and stuff like that, they come automatically with those accessories to turn on or off at your whim. But I just thought there was going to be a lot more in the beginning. Now, I'm not exactly complaining about the lack of that kind of stuff, because obviously this can be coming down the road in, you know, updates or patches or even DLC, so I'm not 100% like upset about that. But one thing that I do want to say is that, like, with the amount of room that this game has to grow, the potential that it has, and the fixes and workings that they've already tried to do, like with that most recent patch, I think that like it is moving in a good direction. However, for me personally, I would just like to see a little bit more of that kind of stuff. And what better time of year to discuss this than Halloween, right? So we have costumes that I definitely want and I want to see, and I'm not going to waste time like sharing those costumes that I want with you guys, because like everybody's probably has different costumes that they actually want to see. But I think definitely some of the what if stuff, those special characters, I'm not going to spoil the two that I'm talking about just in case anyone hasn't played those what ifs yet. But I think that's stuff that should definitely be coming. Like, hopefully it comes at least. I don't know, I'm really just like a little bit, I guess, winded by everything surrounding it, and the community has been like a mix of weird or good. So I don't know, like playing online is kind of a it reminds me honestly of like the Xbox 360 Call of Duty days. That's the only thing I can talk about. If you're on Facebook or anything like that and you're in those groups, people can be not the best representatives of humanity, I'll say. That's the nicest way that I can put it. But I don't really like mess around too much with online, just because A, I don't have time, and B, I'm not young anymore, so I don't really want to sit there grinding online just to like get to some imaginary rank that I'm not going to care about in either way. So it's just not that important to me personally, but I know some people that are. I'm more interested in like tournaments with friends and stuff like that, to be honest. But another thing that I do want to see coming in the future alongside of this is I want more episodes. I want more story. This can come in the way of like when we get characters, they can actually release new episodes for those characters, or even have like sagas per se, where it involves characters from the DLC, but it's just extensions onto the story, similar to how we see like Tekken was recently when it released its DLC characters, including Heihachi. We had extra story that went along with that. And I think this would be a good opportunity to grow the game over time by adding these episodes and special battles and stuff, or even adding new what-ifs. And I think a lot of that's going to be interesting. I don't know if we're going to be getting like original characters and stuff like that outside of like what we're already seeing in the data mine and whatnot, but I am hoping that we get some unique stuff. I know a lot of people want Android 21, for example, and some other people want more characters from Daima, which I've seen, which kind of would be cool, like Glorio and stuff. I know we're probably going to be getting a lot of those characters, but there's some new unique characters that I do want to play as from Daima in there myself personally. But not to fill out the roster too much or bloat it too much, we definitely want to see back the characters that we are missing from the original Tenkaichi games. And now I know in the data mine, there were certain characters that weren't included in that, like Base Garlic Jr. apparently is not in there, but it is what it is. We don't know if that's like the full data breach or how that's gonna work. We have no idea, and I'm not gonna really try to like lie or say anything to try to get people just to like watch the video based on like that in the thumbnail stuff. But I definitely think that I would like to see more of that. I would like to see more what ifs in general, but I want to see the really good what ifs, like for example Gohan's and stuff like that. Even Vegeta's to an extent. But I think that like some of the other ones were just kind of like plain. It's just like, hey, what if he won? And it's just like a slideshow, and it's like, yeah, you won. So it's kind of like almost a waste at that point. It's like, that's kind of cool, I guess, but like I would like to actually see that. I also want to see more production value in the game. Like, we have room to grow with space. Like, the game's only like 30 gigs, so I would like to see them actually put more effort into cinematics in the future. Obviously, if they don't do it for the episode battles that are now, but I'm hoping what they do is they actually add a full-on story mode. Now, I don't think they're going to do that. I think episodes is what we're going to get, but a lot of games have secondary story modes, similar to like how Soul Calibur has the story mode, and then it has the episodic character chronicles. And I think if the episodes fill that feature and we still get a full story mode, it would make a lot of people more happy. I know a lot of people won't care, but I personally would like to spend more time with the game actually doing stuff, because this game's a pretty easy game to platinum. I think most people can get there, especially since like the hardest trophy is probably like play 100 battles online, which you can just do with your friends in tournaments, and it, you know, it's pretty fast to get there. So I don't really, there's no really like conditions or ones that are pertaining to like getting to a certain rank or victories or whatever, so it's pretty easy for most people to actually platinum. And while I do appreciate that, I hope that we also get more trophies with DLC. I always love additional trophies for trophy hunting, whether it comes with DLC and is not part of the main trophy pack or not. It's just like more fun to try to like go after those achievements as opposed to just like letting the game sit there on platinum. But that's just like an extra thing. I don't really think it's that important. But there's a lot of things for this game that I actually do want to see. I do want to see more giants too. I think like we're severely lacking in giants in this game, and I know it's like an actual bonus thing and people don't want to fight against them in online and stuff like that, but I think it really adds to the diversity of the character roster and the story. So I do want to see some more of that stuff. I'm pretty happy with the base roster for what we got, but I do want to see, like I said, it filled out with more of those characters from the original Tenkaichi games up to and including Tenkaichi 3. And I do want to see some more original characters. I don't think they're going to go the way of Xenoverse by adding like Dragon Ball Heroes stuff or like even like special characters like that, but it would be nice if we at least get more traditional characters from like, let's say, the ongoing media, so like Daima and maybe whatever future movie comes out for Dragon Ball Super. Or if the anime returns, actually doing it alongside of the anime. But it depends on the life cycle of the game, and the life cycle of the game doesn't necessarily matter in terms of what the publishers want. That's more about what the audience wants. Of course, there's going to be people playing this game like 20 years from now, like they do all the Dragon Ball games, but necessarily speaking, the online and the esports aspect and stuff like that is going to be really carrying that in terms of lifespan for the game. Even though it doesn't matter to a lot of people, and a lot of people that play these games are us old heads who never really had online outside of LAN parties and, you know, beating our friends up on split screen. That's pretty much our extent to that, what it was. But I don't know. I'm gonna make a new video too about like the diversity of Dragon Ball games in general, because so far the only one that we have that's really super different is Fighters. I definitely want to see more diversity of that. I even think that Xenoverse was a weird move, because like Dimps, the people who brought us Budokai, came back after all these years and they're like, let's make a Tenkaichi type game, like that third person flying around kind of thing. And that's what we have with Kakarot, that's what we have now with Sparking Zero, that's what we have with Xenoverse. So I definitely think that like I want that fighting game thing back. So I really hope that if Dimps doesn't do another side-by-side fighting game other than like an arena fighter, then I think that like somebody else should take the helm. I don't know if we're going to get like a Fighters 2 from Arxis or something like that, but it is something I would look forward to. I do want to know in the comment section down below what type of Dragon Ball game would you like to see next, because personally, even though I bought Breakers, I've never even touched it. Just not really that interested. Those like online all the time games, I can only take so much at a time, so I'll play like Fortnite and like Dead by Daylight here and there, and like that's pretty much it. That's the extent of like what I play with those games. But I definitely am interested in what you have to say in the comments down below. Now, before we go, I do want to get to the poll of the last video, and in that poll, I stated, what do you want to see most in Dragon Ball Sparking Zero? 41% of the people, which is the winners, said more characters. 22% said more episodes/story. 15% of people said crossplay, and 22% of people said more stages, and this is out of a pool of 227 votes. And you can see the comments as we're talking about it now. I think the only thing with crossplay is that, like, with modders already modding the game on PC, and we know how prevalent we can have modders and cheaters and stuff like that, I think crossplay with PC is kind of a bad idea. Unless there's like severe limitations on like and severe checks of like what they actually have to go through online in order to match up with somebody from PlayStation. And referring to Xbox, I don't know how big of a player base that is, because the install base of Xbox Series X alone is like 1/3 of what PlayStation is. So you kind of divvy up that about those people and see how many of those people actually bought Sparking Zero. The number gets kind of small, so I don't know if they'd want to even prioritize by taking the time or using the money to actually do that. It would be cool though to play with Xbox players, but you know, whatever. We'll see what happens. Whatever happens, happens.
Ivy Valentine subscribes to Mark Yoon. So should you. Enjoy your treat!